Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Aquí tienen el horario para el día de hoy, miércoles el 3 de noviembre. No había tarea para hoy. You didn't have any homework due for today. Getting back to the grammar component that we had talked about last week about making comparisons of both equality and inequality is our learning target for today. Warm-up question is to write 3 sentences in Spanish in which you compare any two of your classes using the grammar that we looked at about how to make comparisons of inequality with más or menos que, more or less than, and adjectives, mayor or menor que, when you're comparing age, older than or less than, or younger than, forgive me. Mejor que or peor que, just definitively saying something is better than or worse than. Those are comparisons of inequality. Comparisons of equality, however, begin with tan or tanto. And if you're going to use an adjective to describe how two things are the same as one another in terms of their quality, using a descriptive adjective, then you would use tan and como, with the descriptive adjective going in the middle. If you're going to talk about how two things have as many as or as much of something as one another, you would use tanto or one of the different forms of tanto, right? Tanto, tanta, tantos, tantas. And that the form of tanto is dictated by the gender, masculine or feminine, or the number, singular or plural, of the noun that you're comparing or you're using to make the comparison. So this is all in your notes that we talked about from last week. Create sentences, 3 of them, in which you make comparisons of 2 your classes. And you have some examples there that you can utilize. We'll go over the notes again that we just looked at on page 53. We'll do the pair practice that we did not get to last class, where you're filling in the blanks here with either tan or one of the forms of tanto, very similar to what we did at the very end of the video that we watched, if you recall from last week. 11, a little bit more tricky, where you are going to create full complete sentences, just like how you're doing for your warm-up, comparing the word that's in the middle there. If that word is a noun, well, I guess evidently they're all nouns for exercise 11 because you're using one of those forms of tanto. So based on the noun that's being quantified, choose whatever form of tanto. Like for example, number 1, you want to say, I don't have as many friends as Luz. So there's really 2 things you need to do for these sentences. The first thing is to conjugate the verb that's provided according to the subject. The verb here for number 1 is tener, and you can go to page 7 of the textbook to get a quick review. Oh, not 7. Not 5. Hang on one sec. My bad, sorry about that. Page 15. You have the verb tener. Just to jog your memory, how to conjugate tener in the present tense. If you're talking about yourself, it would be tengo. So page 15, a value for exercise 11, if you need to go back and refresh your memory. So yo tengo for number 1. And then if I'm saying as many friends, whether it's amigos or amigas, I'm going to go amigos. I would say yo tengo, or yo no tengo, tantos amigos como Luz. So you're making comparisons of equality with a noun, and then the right form of tanto would need to go in front of that noun, and then again you're conjugating the verb. Looks like tener is used for all of them except for number 5. Conjugate tener according to the subject that comes at the very beginning. All right, what we'll do to conclude class is the conversation activity on page 54. ¿Qué piensas de? And you're going to follow the model here to compare these two topics and compare them using expressions of inequality like más and an adjective, que or menos to say less, pretty than or less exciting, difícil would be difficult, fácil is easy, and interesante, as you know, is interesting, and aburrido is the opposite, boring. So compare these in terms of how they're the same or different from one another. So for example, ¿qué piensas de la clase de matemáticas y la clase de ciencias? What do you think of math and science class? Make a comparison. How are the two similar or different? Pienso que la clase de matemáticas es tan difícil como la clase de ciencias. I believe, or I think, is pienso que. I think that math class is as difficult as science class. ¿Y tú? And then the person who asked the question for part A will also give their opinion. Yo pienso que la clase de matemáticas es más interesante. So here they're using a comparison of inequality. Más interesante que la clase de ciencias. So these underlined portions here, you're going to replace with these topics. And then, of course, change around the comparisons. Whether you want to make a comparison of equality, you'd say tan. And then after tan, pick one of those adjectives, how they're equal to each other. As easy as difficult as fun or exciting as, or as boring as. Or if they're not equal, use más or menos, and then the adjective going in between. That's our agenda for today, y'all. No homework at all for tonight. Trying to pull back from having given you guys so much homework to start off quarter 2. So enjoy a little bit of a break, and I will see you again. Nos vemos en clase. Adiós.